Welcome, I'm Kinetic Symphony. This is Dave. I hunt down and report on weird and true mysterious stories, from glitches to the supernatural. Case file number 1980, written by Ashley Mary 096. A beach day mystery that's hard to put underfoot. This happened about 5 years ago, but I'll never forget how insanely confused I was. I also want to note that I'm not a stranger to glitches happening, and I've witnessed cars disappearing with nowhere to go, items disappearing and reappearing in the most obvious places, etc. So the story is, I was on a camping trip with my family in Biloxi, Mississippi, and we took a drive to the beach. We parked in a parking lot and had to cross a busy street before coming up to a wooden bridge and path that led to the sand. As me and my family approached the end of the path, all of the beachgoers had their shoes lined up against the railing. I remember slipping out of my shoes and hoping that they wouldn't be stolen or accidentally taken by someone else, as they were pretty generic. And as I stated, everyone's were all piled together. Me and my family went on about our beach day, went swimming, etc. And I know for a fact no one from my little group left to go back to the car, and everyone stayed together the whole time. Not only that, but my siblings were too young to cross the street alone at that time. My dad has never pulled pranks. And we were leaving and approached the pile of shoes. Lo and behold, my shoes were gone. They were a cheap pair of flip-flops, so I wasn't broken-hearted, but was quite annoyed, as I had to walk across the busy street and through the parking lot, barefooted. I remember stepping on rocks the whole way and mildly complaining because it was quite painful. Then when I got back to the car, my shoes were neatly placed directly outside of my car door, as if I had opened the door, placed my feet on the ground, and just slipped out of them. If it were a prank, it couldn't have been done by my family, so the random prankster would have had to know 1, which shoes were mine, and 2, which car was mine, and 3, which door I had gotten out of. And I know for a fact I didn't leave them there myself, due to how uncomfortable the walk was barefoot, as well as having the thought that I hoped my shoes wouldn't go missing in the pile. I was happy to have them back, but totally annoyed it wasn't before the miserable walk across the rocks. Case file 1980, a beach day mystery that's hard to put underfoot. Yeah, I've walked through parking lots before, and it sucks. If it's a asphalt parking lot, cement, or just gravel, it all heats up a lot. So there's pointing, who knows if there's like glass on the road, you do not want to do that, it sucks. So whoever did this clearly was a prankster. Now, was their motive pure? Just playing a prank, bro? I guess so. Why else would they put it back there? And it couldn't have been a human being, could it? Unless they were stalking you. They were literally just some weirdo that was at the beach and wanted to play a prank on some random unsuspecting family. So they observed one particular car, saw you get out, saw you where you put your sandals. I guess that could be possible. That would be much creepier, for sure. Case file number 1981, written by FSR. Granny's Otherwordly Plea. Clean the floor. Don't let it be. 7 days after my grandmother's passing, I went to her house with my 4-year-old nephew to grab some of my things that happened to be in her house. One of those things was a bag whose leather was crumbling, so when I picked it up from her closet, some of that leather dust fell to the floor. My grandmother was the type of person who thinks that if you make any mess, you have to clean it right away. You're not supposed to let it sit there for ages. Because of that, I immediately said to her, or the idea of her, I don't know, "Don't worry, Granny, I will clean it up." Anyway, before that though, I decided to put my nephew, who was jumping up and down, to watch a cartoon, so he would stay still for a sec while I would get him some food. My grandmother lived with one of her children, so the food in the fridge was fresh and everything. As I'm prepping his food, all of a sudden, my nephew, who 2 minutes ago was all over the place in a good mood, shows up with a concerned look on his face. As if he was weirded out by something. He goes and asks me, "What is this voice?" And I'm like, "What voice?" "This woman." So I go, "What woman?" And he repeats, "This woman." So I go, "Where is she?" And he says, "Here." I'm like, "Where?" And he goes and points out behind my back. Then I ask him, "What is she saying?" "To clean the floor." Case file 1981, Granny's otherworldly plea. Clean the floor, don't let it be. My grandmother and my mother are the same way, and that's nothing wrong with that. Tidy tidy. She was still around, lingering to make sure that no one messes up the house while she's gone. Are you gonna be the neat freak ghost when you go? I probably would be. Case file number 1982, written by winelizabethadore. Perfectly aligned. The tale of a banana and time combined. This happened about 10 years ago. My husband, infant daughter, and I lived together in a small apartment. We had a clock on the wall in our living room that we never adjusted for daylight savings time. It had been an hour off for most months. Rather than changing it, we just joked about it all the time. We rarely relied on the analog clock anyway. Plus, eventually, it will be corrected again. One day, I got home from a morning outing with my daughter. I noticed that a banana peel was on the hall on the floor. This was very strange because we did not have any bananas in the house. In fact, we never did. I was quite startled. I sent a text to my husband and asked him if he stopped by home during his shift and possibly dropped a banana peel on the floor. He said he most certainly had not. We checked our Ring doorbell footage and no one had come into our apartment. I cleaned it up. I was feeling uneasy. I packed a diaper bag for my daughter so we could leave for the afternoon. Before we walked out the door, I glanced at our clock. The time was correct. It had been adjusted for the time change. I was startled. I checked my phone to be sure, and sure enough, the clock had been adjusted. I grabbed my daughter and her bag and left. Once we got safely to the car, I messaged my husband to ask if he had adjusted the clock. He had not. When we got home that evening, my husband thought I had been messing with him. I still can't explain what happened. My husband is not a practical joker, and this would have been a very weird practical joke to play. I always felt like it was a little glitch in the matrix. That or something more sinister, but my brain prefers the former. Case notes from 1982. Perfectly aligned. The tale of a banana and time combined. Okay, I got nothing for this one. Honestly, not a clue. What could reset a clock and then leave a banana peel behind? There's nothing that connects in that I can think about. Can anyone else think of anything that would fit? So the clock is reset to correct time via daylight savings, and a banana peel is left behind. Frickin' King Kong is up here just changing clocks? I don't get it. It's such a bizarre glitch, but I love it, and it's even better that I don't know what the hell happened. Space-time portal that ported in a monkey that changed the clock? Or the portal itself fixed the clock and the monkey came in, left a banana peel and poured it out? I got nothing. Now time for the joke of the day. A polar bear walks into a bar and says, "I'll take a rum and a Coke." The bartender says, "What's with the paws?" The polar bear says, "I was born with them." Like the video, subscribe, hit the bell. Kinetic Symphony, signing off.